Oh, Dedra, I think I love you. No one's got a resting bitch face quite like you. There's no one in outer space quite like you. Want some milk with my cereal. Want you to be my girl. Oh, my Dedra. Oh, my Dedra. What's that I spy my little eye? Andor, Cassian Andor, talk about Andor, Cassian Andor. He's a rebel spy, just for that friend. Give you a hug at the very end. Make that man feel like 100. He's the road one for me. Keep you ass up. He's not in the show. Is he a fish or a thief? He's Cassian Andor. Cassian Andor. Cassian Andor.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and if you're listening to this on a podcast, I look beautiful right now. All that said, a couple of interviews with Tony Gilroy have come out. One in particular I wanted to hit on, and there was a couple of things at the Bestman Bulletin that I wanted to hit on today too. I didn't realize, like a dummy. Well, I did realize, but I didn't think about it, that tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Probably won't be able to do a show. And Bestman had a bunch of articles he put up so we could use on the show too. He was very considerate. He's a very considerate man. And I was like, well, we need to get to that. And then so all this stuff hit, and I was like, you know what? I need to get to this. So here we go right now. We'll just get right into it. The rap article was a good one too. Ooh, I don't know if I saw the rap one. But let me know what's in the rap one and if we need to pull it up or not. But in this one, and from the Hollywood Reporter by Brian Davids, Andor creator Tony Gilroy talks Luthen's Good Day. That post-credit scene in season 2. So the showrunner looks at the challenges and lessons that will carry him into the conclusion of the critically acclaimed Star Wars show. The second jump out of the airplane is more terrifying. Get rid of this little ad here. Now that Andor season 1 has come to a close, creator Tony Gilroy is already off and running on a season 2. The showrunner of the critically acclaimed Disney Plus Star Wars series is currently embarking on a shoot that will last through August of 2023. So once again, lines up with what me and Bestman have been saying for quite a while now, all the way down to the start. So whatever. But he still managed to carve out some time to answer some of the lingering questions from the season 1 finale. In Rick's Road, the citizens of Ferrix were so inspired by Marva's parting words via hologram that they fought back against the Imperial forces that had been occupying their town for quite some time. Cassian Diego Luna who couldn't help but risk everything to return home from his adoptive mother's funeral, managed to spot Spy Master Luthen Rael in the crowd, and once he freed Bix from captivity and got the rest of his friends out of Dodge, he then caught up with the shadowy rebel on his ship. Knowing that Luthen was looking to tie up loose ends, Cassian made it easy by offering either his life or his loyalty to the rebellion. And I gotta say, I feel like if you were watching this season and you were really into it, like, that ending was very satisfying. Wouldn't you guys agree? Like, that Luthen just kind of giving like that smirk, that smile. If the show hadn't earned that, it would not have worked, but it did. Thank you, Matt. I just got the message right now. Thank you so much, dude. And yeah, we'll read it after this one. I appreciate the help, dude. So anyways, they earned it. I feel like they earned it. They earned it with me. And when it happened, it was very satisfying. So knowing that Luthen was looking to tie up loose ends, Cassian made it easy by offering either his life or his loyalty to the rebellion. And yeah, that was good. Earlier in the season, they talked about how they all like swore oaths and stuff, and I was like, how formal was that? But we saw Cassian's form of it, and that was pretty cool. So, anyways, it's a big day for Luthen. This is, I think, Gilroy. It's a big day for Luthen. When he's listening to Maarva's speech, it's not pride of ownership on his part, but it's another corner of the farm he's trying to grow. So he's very proud when he hears that, Gilroy tells the Hollywood Reporter. And my God, to finish up the day and have the new asset Cassian walk in, who is now basically saying, all right, I'm in, blood oath. That's a pretty good day, I think. Yeah. I mean, when you really look at Luthen took some wild bets. I mean, that was the guy that he was gonna kill. And the guy that he was gonna kill ended up being the best asset that he grew over the season, maybe. So, anyways, the episode also features a rare Star Wars post-credit scene that confirms that Cassian and the other Narkina 5 prisoners were in fact building components for the Death Star, as reported by MakingStarWars.com. The very weapon, it doesn't say that, but it should. The very weapon that will eventually claim Andor's life in Rogue One. Despite the reintroduction of Star Wars' Planet Destroyer, Gilroy says it'll still be an impending threat in the background of Season 2, and its construction won't take on a more active presence. So that's pretty big in terms of how we should conceptualize this. When the bunk rumors start coming out, the fake spoilers start coming out. Look at this. Gilroy says they will forget this. The fakers will forget this most likely. So it'll be an impending threat in the background of Season 2. So we know it's there. We saw it at the end of this. We know it's out there. It's a problem, but its construction won't take on a more active presence. What does that mean for what's his name? Krennic. Like, in a way, I feel like without, if there's not an active presence there, I don't know if we get Krennic in Season 2. I mean, that could be saying no Krennic, or at least implying Krennic's not that big of a deal to it. The construction, anyway. So we'll see, though. So he says it'll still be the looming threat. Rogue One is all about discovering what it is. Season 2 is about who picks up the final breadcrumbs that lead to the beginning of Rogue One. Excuse me. So who picks up the final breadcrumbs? So does that mean that we would go to Bodhi Rook? Is that, I don't mean to attach too much to what we already have, what we already think we know, but Bodhi Rook is kind of, And once again, thank you, Matt, for the article. We'll get to it right after this one, dude. Thank you for the help. Well, okay. So in a recent conversation with THR, Gilroy also discusses why none of the Season 1's directors are returning for Season 2. Well, bravo, Tony. Thank you. I'm bowing down. So they say, THR says, you're a history buff. So was the funeral procession turned riot attack loosely based on anything? And then Gilroy says, the first comp is somewhere between those epic provisional IRA funerals. God, there's footage of some of them, and it's just incredible what these funerals turn into. And then the other comp is a New Orleans second line funeral procession. The joy and the soul of that. So those are the two comps. There's also the idea of civic organizations like the Daughters of Ferrix and a community orchestra of aspirational musicians. For anybody who pays attention, there's a doctor named Dr. Mulmoy, Matt Dunkley, and he's the lead trumpet player in the band. So you see different people in the town. And and where it all came from. Oh, by the way, in this picture, you can see Star Wars Santa. Wait, you see him right here? Can you see him right there in the middle? That's totally Star Wars Santa right here, dead center. If you guys ever watch Star Wars Santa show, there's his cameo. That has to be him. It can't be just some random guy with the white beard. There's only one guy with the white beard, and it's Star Wars Santa, and there he is right there. I see him. I see him with my own eyes. So, anyways, then THR goes on to say, I've been wondering why we hadn't seen Fiona Shaw's Marva in a little while and why she died off screen, but you answered those questions in the best way. And he says, were you surprised when she came back in the hologram? And they say, I was, because so much happened off screen. I initially thought you faked her death so she could lead the surprise attack. And then Gilroy says, I heard that theory. I heard that theory. And I was like, oh my God, that's a legit idea. I was like, wow, they snuck the body out and they did the whole thing. So it's a legit idea, but no, Marva was absolutely dead. And right here we can see her Snoke sized hologram. Yeah, I was initially mad when I first heard that she died off screen. I was like, "Come on, are you fucking kidding me?" That was like my natural like gut like why, you know? And then when I heard that this hologram thing happens, I was like, "Oh, okay, it's kind of a little bit of a slow burn on that part." And I was down with it. I was pretty happy with it. So THR says, "Was Fiona Shaw still there on the day to give her speech to the other actors to hear?" And he says, no, we did that speech first. So I remember Bespin Bulletin actually had the scoop on this, and all of the actors and the people involved were just telling Bespin, like, yeah, like a important person died, you know. So that rings true to his reporting. So he goes on to say, THR goes on to say, the final exchange between Cassian and Luthen shows that Cassian has reached a point where he's willing to die to protect the people he loves, or take me in. Also suggests that he's now ready to take the rebellion vow as well. So is Luthen's smile one of pride? And then Gilroy says, yeah, it's a big day for Luthen. While he's listening to Marva's speech, it's not pride of ownership on his part. It is and it isn't, but it's another corner of the farm he's trying to grow. So he's very proud when he hears that. And my God, to finish up the day and have his new asset walk in, who's been all through all this stuff, and he's still standing there, and you managed to not kill. And he's now basically saying, all right, I'm in, blood oath. That's a pretty good day, I think. And by the way, um, I think it's something that should be praised about this show. Some Star Wars shows have a weak plot and it's just all stuff, right? Some have all plot, no stuff, just to say it stupidly. This show was so masterfully fucking done. Like, I cannot kiss this thing's ass enough. Like, at the end of the story, everybody wants to kill Cassian. Like, every single thing is going against that guy. You know, there's even a point where they're like, yeah, let's let the bad guys get him so the good guys could shoot him. Like, it's so fucking, like, that is stakes. That is high stakes. And I think it's fucking genius, beautiful writing, plotting, everything. I mean, I'm in love with the show. I really can't say enough good things about it. So THR goes on to say, when I spoke to Denise Gao and Kyler Soller about their first days on Andor, they both described the setting in the finale. So did you shoot the finale first, or was it just the first day for certain actors? And then Gilroy says, well, we shot we shot out everything in Ferrick's first. Excuse me. So it's possible that the finale was their first day. Tracking has always been the writer's job, and it's always been my job on every movie that I've been on. It's a smaller job, but it's still very, very complicated. You really have to be the person who can track it all the way through. You have to be the person who knows where you are at in the story at all times. It's a huge advantage for writer directors. Even if they don't know how to do the camera or anything else, they have a huge leg up because they're the one person who really knows where you are all the time. And so on a show like this, it's really complicated. And then we have directors come in for blocks, and justifiably so. They only care about their shit that's in front of them. Sometimes they don't pay attention to what's before or after. Sometimes we have to do stuff like that. So one of my jobs is that I have to make sure of those things, but these actors, they are very good at knowing how to track. They're very good about trusting me and having conversations about where they are. So that was probably the first day for them, which is a tough scene to shoot first, right? And then they say, I'll say. And he says, when you shoot a late season scene early, you don't want the actor to come to you 3 months later and say, well, I really wish I'd known that. I would have done that differently. So you don't want to hear that. I've heard that and it hurts. So yeah, that makes sense. Also, though, in this show, like, from my perspective, from Jason's perspective here, it's like she is vulnerable, like in these moments, going right from that riot into this stuff right here. In a way, I can kind of see it maybe being easier to get the vulnerability out of the way. I wonder if I wish I could ask her. That's a actually a good question for her. If anybody ever gets to interview her, ask her that. So Mon Mothma, Genevieve O'Reilly, fabricated a story that her husband's gambling is responsible for the missing money in her account. And then Gilroy says, "You're the first person who's brought that up. I love that. Thank you." Okay, that's weird. And then THR asks, "Why does she still go through with the Skolden family arrangement if she already planted that gambling related cover story?" And then Gilroy goes on to say, "She's just trying to cover all the tracks. Skolden originally came in and said, 'Oh, I know your husband.' So in the end, Skolden probably thinks that this is really about her husband's gambling debts. He doesn't know what the real purposes are. But what I'm saying there is that she's just covering all the bases. If anybody comes looking, if anybody's wondering why she might be borrowing money, or if Skolden is wondering why she might be borrowing money, she can lay it off on poor Perrin." Aw, poor dude, look at him right here. He's like, "What, man?" He's like, "I'm not gambling, man. I ain't going to the track, bro. What? Come on, dude. You know me, man. I'm just squeezing the juice, man. On Coruscant, dude. Come on." So then THR says, "The post-credits scene confirms that Narkina 5 was actually building components for the Death Star. Will the Death Star's construction have a more active presence in season 2? Or will it remain as the looming threat in the background?" And goes on to say, "It'll still be the looming threat. Rogue One is all about discovering what is. Season 2 is about who picks up the final breadcrumbs that lead to the beginning of Rogue One. In Rogue One, Cassian goes to the Ring of Catherine to meet Tivik, who is from Saw's group, and he says, 'Oh my god, it's a planet killer.' Cassian knows some shit, but he's looking for answers, so we'll cover the breadcrumbs that lead up to that, sure. But we have a situation where Cassian will never know that what he was building is actually the machine that's going to kill him. And I would also say the machine he's building is the machine that he defeated, depending on how you want to look at it, right? So THR goes on to say, do you intend to create any new scenes that fit within Rogue One's timeline, be it a new perspective on an existing scene or a new in-between moment? And he says, no, we're going to literally into it. So it'll be him walking out to get on the ship and go there. So we're not going to go into Rogue One. And then okay, so that's good to know. So we won't have any sideways. We won't see any characters like like Stellan Skarsgård's Luthen, what he's doing at the time or anything like that. So THR says, if money was no object, would you have shown the Krieger ambush? And he says, well, in the grammar of our show, I probably wouldn't. Our grammar is pretty rigorous. Without establishing Krieger as a speaking character, as someone that we've been with or some other peripheral character who's there or something, I probably wouldn't. So excuse me, guys. We don't ever go anywhere where one of our characters isn't walking us into it. Death Star Easter eggs aside, in a few extreme cases like that. Even with our camera, our grammar is very rigorous about what we allow ourselves to do and the perspective we are allowed to have. So probably not. I would take the Krieger money that you're giving me and put it somewhere else. So that answers that. Did Bix answer the Krieger access question off screen? See, I found that interesting because they didn't buy it. Because they like literally go on and say like go find access to a Dedra, so they weren't taking that. So so it's Gilroy says the scene ends before anything. Like the scene ends before anything, but she's literally breaking down there. She doesn't have an answer for them. She doesn't have anything that they want. Yeah, see, like when I first watched that scene, I don't know about you guys, but I thought that they were taking that as like an affirmative, even though it wasn't. I thought they were just like torturing her and getting, getting what they wanted out of it. But clearly not. They're just like, okay. So THR goes on to say, composer Nick Britell wrote the funeral march, right? And he says, that's the first thing we all did together. We didn't really even know each other. That's the first project we did before we started shooting. We did that and some of the Ferrix binging and stuff, also like the hitting of the pipes and shit. And then we didn't see each other for like 6 months, but we did that first. Yeah, we fell in love doing that. So, and then THR says in season 2, your 3 episode arcs will apparently cover a year each. But how exactly will that work? Will there be time jumps between episodes or within each episode? And he says, so this is actually pretty juicy. They are actually super condensed. They're like 3 days, 4 days, 2 weeks, 4 days. They're really tight. It's cool that way. That's what's exciting about it. You can go away for a year, come back for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then jump a year. So they won't be spread out. It won't be like block 2 takes place over another year. So they're very concentrated, which is fun. And then you have to account for all the negative space and what happened in the interim. So I think that accounting for that negative space and stuff is going to really change up the narrative of the show. I think like that's going to feel different. That's going to feel completely different than what we've got in some ways. I think maybe I'm wrong, but there's going to be a lot of like, look at where we are now as opposed to where we were, right? So I trust Tony Gilroy. I think it'll be great, but that is a little scary. THR says, you began the series with Cassian asking about his sister, and then Marva later tried to discourage him from looking into it any further. So will that thread be pulled out again at some point? And then he says, that's to be decided. I don't want to get out in front of that question. So I'm going to say yes. And then they said, then THR says, you didn't bring out any season 1 directors back despite stellar work on their part. Did you want more of that new energy that worked so well the first go around? Writer's note, Ariel Kleiman, Janice Metz, and Alonso Ruiz Palacios will also be directing on season 2. Man, we tried really hard. Ben Caron didn't want to come back because he had his movie Sharper with Julianne Moore. He's a big feature director now, so he wants to see how his feature goes. We also wanted Toby Haynes to come back really badly, but he got jammed up on Black Mirror, so he couldn't give us a decision in time, and we had to pull the trigger. That sucks. But it's very hard getting directors. There's a lot of people who are shopping for the same people all the time. And there's only a certain number of people. It's not easy to do this show. You can't learn on this job. We can't take big chances with these blocks. People have to be pretty experienced. And so that's a smaller group. There's a billion shows and everybody is scrounging for people. And a lot of people have a psychological impediment. They say, oh, I don't want to do a season 2. And we're like, this is not season 2. It's a whole other thing. And so it's a lot of work getting directors. It was way more difficult than I ever thought. So that's an interesting way he's looking at it, isn't it? It is almost like he is doing a different show for season 2. Once you wrap season 2, do you think you'll be open to developing more Star Wars projects without being the showrunner or point man? And then Gilroy says, I literally could not even begin to answer that. There's no way to know that. It certainly doesn't feel that way to me. It seems like at the end of the 5 years, I'm going to want to do something else. I mean, I always like to do something else. I've never tried to do the same thing again, but I wouldn't say never or no or anything. But I know for sure is I don't know. So that's actually pretty good. That's actually a very positive sign, but he hasn't done the second season yet. So let's wait and see what he says on the back end of that. What was the biggest lesson you learned from season 2 that you'll apply to from season 1 that you'll apply to season 2? And it's knowing and feeling confident that all of our energy and the insanely obsessive vibe we created can carry us for another season through August. The second jump out of the airplane is more terrifying. The first time you do it, your naivety carries you through. But sorry, I lost my place. But what overcomes the terror of it all is knowing that we have this really great community and vibe. Everybody's a filmmaker, and these people just respond when you give them room and just enough money to do their job and tell them how good they're doing. They just put the shit on screen and don't waste any money. So it's a good feeling to know that we have a community that works. So that's pretty good stuff in that article, really. You know, um, like I said, I'm just so into that first season of the show. Like I'm actually really looking forward to when I have a lazy day, like my next lazy day. I just kind of want to watch the whole thing, you know. All right, where did Matt send me that article? That's the question. I lost it. Wait, is this Matt? Nope. Okay, I think Matt sent it to me over here. Wait, yeah, there it is, Matt. I found it, Matt. Thank you. And this next article is from the Wrap. Thank you, Matt. I always appreciate the help, dude. You're always really Matt's the best at finding articles and knowing if they're trash or not. I'll tell you that much. I don't think anybody could beat Matt on that. So let me share it right now. Once my computer decides it'll let me do whatever I want. Wait. Andor season 1 ending explained. Here we go. No, that's what it was. I don't want the Wrap sending me messages. Ain't gonna happen, Wrap. Okay, here we go. So this is from the Wrap. Let me close out the other article. Andor season 1 ending explained by creator Tony Gilroy. Gilroy also tells the Wrap about that credits end scene and teases season 2 of the Disney Plus series. So the series, which serves as a prequel to Rogue One, let's skip a lot of the stuff. Everybody could go and read that if they want to at thewrap.com. Before we get into the finale, Disney is showing the first couple of episodes of Andor on Hulu and Freeform. It feels like a great show of support, but also that maybe not enough people are watching. What is the vibe you're getting? So they just asked him straight up, hey, your show fucking up. No, he says, I have no clue, honest to God. I in the same day? I guess it should be in the same day. I've seen completely contradictory information. I make my daily pilgrimage to Twitter and see what the fuck is going on. And you go, it's like a disaster. No one's watching it. And then I see something else. Well, I wonder if the narrative no one's watching is a bit overblown and actually advantageous to them. But he goes on to say, I honest to God don't really know what the numbers are. This is what's common. That's what all these labor issues are about, because this is new business. This is not anything that anybody went through before. There was this sort of year-long era about a year ago where when everyone tried to make deals and tried to figure out what, and everybody was trying to pretend like that this is like, oh, this is we haven't figured out, this is business. Okay, whatever. This is how we're going to do it. And now we're like doing is like Wizard of Oz, man. And I'm not even speaking pejoratively. I'm not speaking antagonistically. I don't think that anybody on the Empire side or the Rebellion side, I don't think anybody really knows what they're doing and knows what the right thing to do is for the business. I honestly don't know what the numbers are. And as you know, the numbers mean different things. Who's watching? How long they watch? Are you creating an asset that has decades worth of value? Are you opening into other IP that makes your show even more valuable when you could even more valuable than you could ever imagine? There are so many dimensional metrics to this, and they're all obscure. I think everybody's trying to figure it out. I think it's going to take a long time before we know what all this means. And you know what? Usually whenever I hear something like that, I would just be like, oh yeah, that's a great fucking deflection, creator man, Crater Man's deflecting. That's what I would usually say. But in this instance, I think he's right. And I think the proof that's right is go look at some schlocky YouTube channel that says the show is done, Disney Plus is over, it's all shit, and then go look at the other person that's like talking, like kissing its ass, saying how incredible it's doing, and it's because of this reason or that reason. It all depends on how they want to fudge the math. So I think he's actually being pretty upfront on this. I think he's actually like saying how it really is for him. It doesn't really mean that that he's not, that it's good or it's bad. I don't think anybody knows yet. I think we'll have to see. But so okay. So the rap goes on to say, I talked to Diego the other day and he said you're shooting on Monday. Um, and as long as that is still happening. And then okay. Then Gilroy says, it's a struggle, man. I mean, it's not. You have your ear to the ground, you know, that in the last 2 years, there have been shows without budgets that happened. There's some shows that started before us without budgets that haven't even come out yet. This show shall remain nameless, but there's hamburger all over the highway. We are on a tight leash. It's a big leash, but it is tight. We're hard against it. No, I didn't. I did a podcast earlier this afternoon, my brother John, for a post production thing, and we don't have any deleted scenes. We didn't shoot anything that we didn't use. We reshot our evenings if we felt we could do better or we had fucked up. But that's it. We ate everything on our plate and we cleaned our plates. And we were ran on a very high efficiency production. I think we have enough. I hope we have enough. It's it's a very ambitious menu we're proposing, but we're going for it. So so it sounds like he's pushing the limits of the money that he has been allocated. How early in the process did you land on this finale? How important was a big showdown on Ferrix? So he goes on to say, on a utilitarian level, we build an 8-acre, 360-degree massive set at great expense, and you've got to use it. If you're going to build it, then you've got to use it. But you know, from a dramatic point of view, and it's not the kind of thing that you reach for cynically or even manufacture. It's not some cheesy thing, but as I'm writing it, you go, "Oh my god, what Ferrix is going through is what he's going through, and everything that happens to him is resonating back to Ferrix, and everything that's happening in Ferrix is happening to him." See, the show should have been called Ferrix. And we get to see his internet odyssey, internet odyssey. Sorry. And we get to see his internal odyssey and his internal stations of the cross to becoming radicalized and committed. Now we get to see it here, and in the place that even if you're have having complicated feelings, I guess this should be complicated feelings about Cassian and his mere morality, or whatever. Even if you have any kind of reluctance to embrace him, it's really hard not to fall in love with Ferrix. It's really almost impossible to not feel warmth about that place, and it warms him up. So it's interesting. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I some people have said that they don't really relate to Cassian. I've heard that from a couple of friends, and you know, you don't. But I think he's a pretty relatable character. I mean, how many of you are doing what you're supposed to be doing? Myself included. But let's talk about B2 EMO, says the rap. Was there any reluctance to place that much emotional importance, especially in the finale, on a little faceless droid? And Gilroy goes on to say, well, that was a multi-stage rocket. It was knowing that we were going to have a droid and it's Marva's, you know, let's have a dog. It's an old dog. That was the first thing that we sketched it up, and we had written it down, and then we went to the creatures department led by Neil Scanlon. We wanted to say what it should look like, and they came back one day with, like 7 different versions. And we make all of our modifications. We wanted this and the eye and what color and how big and whatever. And one day we went up at Pinewood to the creature factory, and there's another and there, and they rolled it out, and it's just like, wow, it's just sitting there. It's heartbreaking. And then I'll tell you, the third element was Dave Chapman. The easiest way to do it is to have the puppeteer, the guy who's running the creature, doing the dialogue. It's for timing and for other actors, and that's the most efficient and best way to do it. Dave Chapman was the puppeteer, and he's very experienced, and it's Dave's voice all the way through here. And we always had the intention to revoice this in the end. That's just the way it always goes. We got to the end and put out the word and got all the voice tapes back and listened to it. I don't know, a dozen people, great voice artists and different interpretations. And my brother called me one day and goes, "This is nuts, man. Nobody's as good as Dave. This guy's killing it. Like, we're all allowed, but like, are we allowed to you?" There's a lot of typos in this still. This must be like just went up. Because we don't even have to loop it. It's all there. Skywalker loops when everybody's like, holy shit, I got to call Dave. I mean, the phone calls that you get to make when you hire actors and you tell them they got the part or this. I don't think I had a better phone call than calling Dave, because he's been doing it forever. And it was never something he would ever hope for. And you go, dude, it's you. A very, very emotional phone call, very powerful. That performance is on set. So that's fucking rad. I didn't know that. I just heard that. I didn't know that but that's just like C-3PO with the original Star Wars. They were looking to have him be like this like greasy car salesman, is what they described it as, sort of like, a little bit of a slime ball for 3PO, but that British accent won out. Hey, just Star Wars. Thank you for the super chat. Evening, pal. Arrived late. What's your thoughts on the finale? Ooh, I loved it, man. I was so into it. Like, I watched it twice, and I sometimes I'll watch something and it will be like, holy fuck, that put me through the ringer. And I'll watch it again. But when I watch it again, I know the emotional manipulations that are coming. And so when that happens, it loses a lot of its potency and it doesn't work as well. And I watched this thing twice, and I think it got me more the second time. I was a little less tired because it wasn't the middle of the fucking night, but I think that had a lot to do with it. But it worked just as well. Instead of diminishing returns, I felt like my second viewing was even better. So I apologize to everybody. I'm still getting over this little sickness from yesterday or the day before. So annoying. So very annoying. So anyways, to get back onto the article, and he survives. Was that always the plan? And ask the rap. And Gilroy says, they'd bring pitchforks to my house. I will tell you flat out. I can be really chippy, but I do not have the balls to kill B2 in the first season. Yeah. No. Don't even kill him in the second season, man. Unless he becomes K2SO, which at this point I'm not on board for. Early on, I thought maybe it would go there, and I was like, whatever, cool, maybe it'd be fun. But he has so much more heart, just would be weird. There's an element of the show brought up in episode 11 of The Braid. Was that just to show there's more spirituality in the galaxy than just the Force? And Gilroy goes on to say, what a heavy complication for Genevieve O'Reilly from Mon Mothma. There's nobody has a tougher ride than that character. Everything she does has to be observed. She's on display all the time. She has no way of physicalizing her anxiety. She can't go shoot a gun or blow something up or run away. She has to stay in place. She's suddenly faced with this. I mean, the decisions that she has to face, they're just terrifying. And look, the other thing is in our show, if any of the elemental people go down, the whole thing goes down. There's just collateral damage to anybody going down. She goes down, the whole thing goes down. The thing goes down, everything goes down. Bell goes down, And then, my God, this Hobson's choice of, do I let my daughter take the introduction even? Or do I? Do I run? What do I do? You find that you're going full orthodox. And what a cool twist and turn. Yeah, twist and turn. And that's a real thing too. I was fascinated by the hippie parents that have the hedge fund daughter. and Chandrilan culture. We spend time digging into it more later on. It's very posh and ritual, this place, and we're doing a lot of epic work along the way. Those braids, they'll do that. So yeah, I think that that's what's kind of cool about it too. Like how like Perrin is I think very, very human in a lot of ways, in the sense that like he pushes that idea, but then he's also ambivalent about it. And that's how parents are kind of about religion at times. A lot of parents, most, maybe I don't, maybe not most, I don't, maybe most who are religious, it's like they're in it and they'll push the idea that they don't really want to be in it. They're not really in it. They're not really feeling the fervor, but they're still pushing the ideals. And like that's what Perrin does. He pushes the ideals of that thing onto his daughter, but then Mon Mothma's like, well, he's kind of cool about it, which means he's still hippie enough, I think, to leave the ball in her court. But you know, it's those kind of human contradictions are natural, and I think the show does a good job with it. I didn't feel like it was a contradiction. Like it was a plot hole here. It wasn't like that. So, the rap says, let's talk about Andor's arc in this episode. Maybe we start with the final scene and him with Luthen. And Gilroy says, oh, start with that. There's no game there. What he says to him is legit. Seriously, recruit me or kill me. Ferrex is gone. His mother's gone. He's been through all this stuff. He's tired. He can't keep running. It's the tension of not belonging anywhere. He's been in exile and he's exhausted. And he's in prison and he's in and he's out. The need to have a home, the need to have to land is also completely matched by the passion of his anger and the realization of how dark and evil and how great it is to destroy this fucking empire. Really, you can't write fucking empire rap? Give me a fucking break. He means that he's all in. We will not be putting his commitment to the cause in debate going forward. So, you see what that? You guys read that? He means that he's all in. We will not be putting his commitment to the cause in debate going forward. He's still all in the other issues. And many of you know this season was all about becoming that person. Then the other 4 years are becoming a lot of other things and becoming a leader and surfing your way through the rest of the revolution. So there, yeah, which we've known this stuff. So he goes on to say, the rap goes on to ask or to state, it's interesting to have this big climax be about the character who is so action driven but spends most of his time in the shadows. And Gilroy says he's hiding because there's like 20 people and they want to kill him. He found out that Bix is trapped, and that's part of his motivation, you know? He feels so responsible for what's happened to her. He's been with her whole life. I think it's supposed to be he's been with her whole life, and she's so important to him. So that's part of it. And things on the ground are out of his control and taking a shape that he never expected, the same way that Luthen is watching. He is in a stupid sort of doctoral thesis. I don't work this way. I don't think this is the way when it happens, but he's watching himself writ large on the streets. And yes, that's his consciousness coming together from various points of view all around. When you go there and you go like, oh my God, I didn't know I was doing this, but wow, look how smart we are for doing this. When I saw those dailies come in, it's like, wow, man, you could watch all the parts of yourself coalescing to where you are. That's really what's happening. So, yeah, that fucking the way all of those branches of plot, character motivation, everything came together beautifully in the ending there. So they say the says, let's talk about the big post-credit scene. And he says, as much as much shit as I brought into the writer's room, all kinds of different things and all kinds of scenes, all the way through the sketches for stuff and ideas for stuff, I did not have Luke Hall, who's really my primary collaborator above all, and he's the production designer because I have, he and I have to do everything with him first before anything. Luke was in our first writer's room. So, and when we were doing stuff, doing the prison stuff, we said we're not going to do prison if we have to do something that's already been done. We want to be new, or we'll do something else or substitute something else for it. I cannot remember in the speed and blur of the room, but someone said electric floors, and I'm like, okay, wow, what's that like? And then, excuse me, and then the factory and making these things, and then we have to go off with Luke. He means the production designer, right? I think he means that. And they designed the actual process and what the thing was like, and we got refined. Then we got there, and we're like, "Fuck! What are they building? They're building parts for the Death Star." We had the idea, and and then we thought, "Oh, how smart we are, and how clever, whatever." And we have that idea we gave that idea to the visual effects department. The visual effects department is like Santa Claus. You give them these ideas, and you go back to a visual effects review, and you just go like, "Oh my god, can we have that?" They went off and built the whole thing and brought it back to us, and we tweaked it a little bit, but it's really their baby. The thing I would say about it from the bigger point of view is that Cassian is like Zelig. It's not in the shapeshifter way, but in the fact that he's all these events that matter, and we don't want pixie dust, and I don't want to do something in some goofball manipulative way. But that's the centerpiece. The guy is in prison, becoming radicalized to becoming a leader for the first time, and coalescing a lot with these elements inside himself that are building up. He's building this thing. We have no idea what it is, and we will never know what it is. He's building the thing that's ultimately going to kill him. So, and then there we go. That was the article. Thank you, Matt Risman, for pointing that one out. That one did have a lot of good shit in it. That is fucking totally true. I'm with you there. Um, we got our hot girl spam. I guess that's what happens when I just decide to go do one of these shows on on a whim, but that's the way it goes. Marva's hologram was phenomenal. Even Brasa relaying her message to Cassie and hit me right in the feels. Yeah, I also liked it when Brasso took that brick and fucking hit that guy in the face with it. That like AT-AT commander looking guy. I don't remember what they're called, but Matt, I should make you a mod in this. Remind me, or I will try to remember. I will make you a mod next time I can. Okay, Baymax got it. Thank you, Baymax. Yeah, but I should definitely give couple of you guys mod powers. That's for damn sure. I'll try to get on that in the future. Um, yeah, and then we got a couple of things over at the bulletin. Who I think I might have just got a message from. Let me see. Did I get a message from the Bestman Bulletin? Is the bulletin reaching out? Oh, um, wait, is that public? Because there's my I'm telling him I'm on a show. So okay, Kathleen Kennedy reportedly has the 2026-2027 Star Wars slate planned out. So, which by the way, there's some rumors going around, by the way, that yeah, okay, there's a rumor going around that Indiana Jones 5 is titled The Dial of Destiny. So, huh. Honestly, yeah, it's not super exciting, but also so fucking kind of left field that it makes me go, yeah. Are you covering the articles from earlier? Yep. I'm back on the beat. Live right now, Bestman. I'm live right now. Okay, I'm now we're all on the same page. Hey Rob, do you want back on or are you busy? I didn't want to put you through another show if you had shit to do or whatever. But so let me share Bespin bulletin, not a fulletin around. Here we go. All right. So Kathy Kennedy reportedly has the 2026-27 slate planned out. So I believe this to a large extent. I was talking to some people at Pinewood, and there's some evidence that they will be shooting a Star Wars movie, or I don't think shooting, beginning construction on a Star Wars movie around April to May. And so if you think about it, this actually may be a good sign for the Taika Waititi project. It sounds like how it's going to go is Taika's going to turn in his movie around December, and then they'll know. And if it does happen around April or May, they will start making sets. So that's what I have heard. Okay. That's me. Now on to the article. Kathleen Kennedy reportedly has the 2026 and 27 Star Wars slate planned out. Excuse me. And you can give Mr. Bespin a coffee if you want to. I did yesterday. I gave him some walk around money. So if you read his site, I suggest doing it. So over the past few days, since it was revealed that Bob Iger is returning to replace Bob Chapek as Disney's CEO, fans have begun speculating again if this comes with the end of Kathy Kennedy's reign at Lucasfilm president. Rumors stated when Collider's editor-in-chief teased that somebody was on thin ice with the Disney board upon Iger's return, but did not mention or tease Kennedy's name. Despite this, some fans displeased with Kennedy's run as Lucasfilm president, began speculating that the end was near for Kennedy. And speculation only heightened when YouTuber John Campea claimed that the decision to remove Kathy Kennedy as Lucasfilm's president had already been made. But she won't be let go until the release of Indiana Jones 5 this summer. Though I personally don't believe this claim that Disney has already decided to let Kathy Kennedy go once Jones releases, it is worth mentioning that Kathy Kennedy's current contract ends in 2024. So ending in 2024, that makes she might not come back in 2024. That's completely possible. I'll tell you this though, if they were ousting her, she'd be fucking gone. She'd be out right now. Right now is when they're cleaning the house. Right now is when they pulled the Band-Aid off. They wouldn't let it. Hey, you're fired, and you're fired next year. That's not how it works. This doesn't make sense to me. Did they tell her we're not gonna fucking re-up your contract? I guess that could happen, but I don't know. I'm not really not feeling this rumor has any legs. And I asked a couple of people about it, and I just haven't got anything on it. Nothing. So I kind of feel like if it was happening, it would be all over. If it had leaked out to Campy, I feel like now it'd be crawling all over the company. It's kind of my take, So, but Just Star Wars says it's confusing because there are reports of Kennedy actually leaving around Indy 5, but also hearing a host of new movies she's planning. Is she setting up things for after her departure? And that's the whole thing. Is you bring up what you're saying is you're implying something I think is very good, and that's basically it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. If Kathleen Kennedy was being ousted, she wouldn't be making more films, and they're gonna have to pay her for as a producer on them. So I'm sending Rob a link. I guess Rob wants the link. You said you could chat, so you just confused my dumbass. But we'll see what happens here. We'll see. I'm just having all my stuff fall off my desk right now. It's the way it goes. But anyways, back to the article. Shortly after Campia's claim, the topic was brought up on the Hot Mic podcast hosted by John Roca and journalist insider Jeff Snyder, the Snyder, who's been on a fucking tirade lately, and I have enjoyed it. When asked about what would happen to Kennedy with the return of Iger, Snyder said, "I think there's a lot of stuff coming down the feature side at Lucasfilm to be excited about, specifically on the Star Wars side. I think it was a conscious effort to pivot to television for a while and establish Disney Plus and to tell some different stories. But fans have to be patient, obviously, and we're not going to see any of this stuff until 2025, with Snyder then claiming that Kathleen Kennedy has the next 5 years planned out. They have the 2026-2027 slate planned out. We don't know what they are yet." That sounds reasoned to me. Also, doesn't sound like somebody who just got fired. But then again, Snyder could be hearing stuff from last month, and yesterday everything changed. But I think Snyder might have the vibe more correct, in my opinion. I always tell readers to take a look at what reporters' track records, says Bespin Bulletin. Snyder himself exclusively broke that Damon Lindelof, Watchmen: The Leftovers, was developing a Star Wars movie back in March, many months before the story was reported by the trades, and has since revealed that Lindelof's film will release in December 2025. Following the Lindelof reports, it's been revealed that Sean Levy, Stranger Things free guy, is set to direct an untitled Star Wars movie and will focus on his efforts on the feature once Deadpool 3, his next film, releases in November 2024. In addition to Lindelof,
movie, right?
Levy's Star Wars films, Taika Waititi, you just scared the shit out of me, by the way, Kevin Feige, Patty Jenkins, and Ryan Johnson have all signed on for individual Star Wars projects. And then the last paragraph. Okay. Personally, I believe, this is Bespin Bulletin saying, personally, I believe if Kathleen Kennedy leaves the position of Lucasfilm president, it will be at her own accord. During Kennedy's spell as Lucasfilm's president, the Star Wars movies releases have amassed over $6 billion and saw multiple successful Star Wars television series launch, with The Mandalorian specifically being a highly significant contributing factor to the successful launch of Disney's streaming service, Disney fucking Plus. So, yeah. How's it going, Rob? Welcome back.
Hey, we're actually going to talk about Andor now. Defending the merits of its existence. Like, that was an awfully interesting review. So some context on some of the stuff. One with Campia, he's very careful when he like talks about things to preface whether it's a rumor or just some rando thing he heard. And I've been listening to him for a number of years now. I can kind of tell the difference, right? Like, let me give you an example. He's the one who said he had heard Ben Affleck was out as Batman, and he didn't preface that as like he'll usually say something isn't or isn't a rumor. He said, I heard that, just so you know. This one, he said, it's not even a rumor. Just saying it's something someone said and I don't even know. Which means he heard it from someone who's been 50-50 or before. He's really good at not.
Okay.
Like, I know I get it's a cop out, but at the same time, I get why he does that,
Yeah, so, just usually that's like the place where you just don't say anything about it in the end, especially if it's about somebody being fired. Like, that's
right.
You could,
but everyone's talking about Campia, so it's a way to promote a show, right? So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But it's also like, I'm not going to cry for Kathleen Kennedy's pocketbook, but you're saying something incorrect about somebody's career. It's kind of, I guess she's pretty fucking, she's a titan.
The only thing that made me wonder, fired, I don't think he ever said that, just leaving, right? Like finishing tenure, that her first film would be sort of Indiana Jones over there in the last one. It's like a way to bookend the careers, the way it was being framed,
Yeah.
And I guess no one wanted to bring it up till now, probably because, they had a bunch of other fucking shit going down. So I get it. I would say that like you're right in that she would never be fired. They're not firing Kathleen Kennedy. You know what I mean? Like, for doing what? That division is booking subscriptions on a Disney Plus when, you know what I mean? A lot aren't.
Well,
like,
Bespin
I don't know
says,
what the moving the.
Yeah. Sorry. No, Bespin says, I listened to the episode too. He said he heard it from two sources. He said one had 1,000% track record and the other was about 90%.
Yeah, so I could see she planned on retiring. The only thing that gave me some reason to believe that there's probably some legs to that idea would be Rejuan stepping down. in that we all assumed Michelle Regeron was the heir to the throne, right? So like
At
two
we're
things.
talking like
Kathy isn't leaving,
2019, yeah.
right?
2019, that
Kathy,
was more of the vibe. I don't know how long that lasted, and I have no idea. Like, and that was like what I was told one time. Like, if we fucking, if there was a fucking plane crash and we lost our president, then who would be the next in line? Who would take over at that moment? And that's who somebody told me would be.
and this is all before Mando, and there's a lot of different producing going on.
This is
over there
before
now,
episode
you know what I
9
mean?
had finished
Right.
everything and everything like that. Yeah.
So when
So.
she leaves, we had a conversation. That means one of two things: either A, you don't have a future job, or B, Kathleen Kennedy ain't stepping down for another 10 years, so there's no growth potential here. I need to go somewhere else. I'm not sticking around 10 more years waiting for maybe a future job, right? It's still
Yeah.
50-50,
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the minute you say any of this, the news cycle is they're firing her, they fired Chapek, they're firing Kennedy, blah, 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 blah. Everyone breaks out the Ferrex horns,
Yeah.
instead of the funeral, it's
pipes.
the
Boing, boing,
yeah,
boing.
yeah. So it's whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, at some point it will be true, like I was saying before, and it's just like
Right.
that's why I'm always like, well, eventually these stories are going to be right, but right now it doesn't sound like that's the case. And I mean, how many more years does Kennedy realistically have? I mean, at some point, I would guess in the next 5 years she's probably likely to go. In the next 5 years, it's likely
Right.
she's gonna like move on to something else or retire. I mean, at some point
Snyder
she deserves it. Yeah.
Well, Snyder is the one, if I remember right, because I watched the Hot Mic. It's I like it more on our show, Jason. So
What?
yes, I know. So
I've always been
he's
kind of
the
an
one who was
outsider
saying
myself.
he was the one who was saying that the reason why they didn't mention, because when he broke that Harrison Ford was going to be in the Marvel, the Thunderbolts, right? That they didn't mention it at D23 because Kathy and them were like, we don't want this taken away from fucking Indiana Jones and shit,
Yeah.
Like, and I 100% buy that one, and he was the only one saying that, so like, he's been pretty keen on just saying that the next thing down the pike he thinks is the Lindelof thing more than anything
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
So,
I think that fucking tracks like the best out of everything that ever. Did you hear the what'd you think of that indie title, The Dial of Destiny?
No. And I remember when the Phantom Menace came out, it was so weird. I was like, yeah, I buy that. But the Dial of Destiny, 2Ds, it's such a Stan Lee thing. It's not. They're more likely to call it Indiana Jones. That's it. Like, seriously. Like, they're like.
Well, but
Destiny. The pick of Destiny, right? Like, I don't.
Yeah. Makes me think of the soap. Yeah. Like maybe Indiana Jones get some Dial soap and you just wash your body in it with your goddaughter. Something magical happens. You get your boner back at 80. Throwing it out there.
I mean, look, they could do it. I've heard. I mean, like I once went when we were trying to like pick out like Indiana Jones names. You go to those Republic cereals. There's not a lot of Republic cereals, by the way. If you go through the list of them, they're not as many as you think there would be. You think there'd be hundreds. There's not. And even when you go through the names, you're like, yeah, this sounds stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of like wordplay to do with those. Like, Lucas kind of did a lot of the wordplay already,
Yeah, but I mean, the whole thing is like when it comes to these fucking titles, like honestly, The Force Awakens is not on the mold. It doesn't really work. It doesn't really fit with what the other titles were doing. So I have no idea if we're in that situation here. That's why I just go like, I don't know what he called this other Wolverine movie. I don't know how this guy titles shit. I have no idea.
Logan. That's why I was saying he's more likely to call this shit just indie.
Yeah.
Boom. Like I don't know, man. I don't know how
do that though. You can't do that though. I hope he doesn't do that. That'd be stupid.
What, the second to the Last Crusade? Like, what are you gonna? The problem is they put the Last Crusade in a movie. It's like, look, I like the Last Jedi, but that's a name that.
But it was not his
Jedi,
Last
but that's
Crusade.
You either start a series off with that or you end a series off. God, these sexy bots, man. You know,
Yeah,
we're
dude.
why don't they ever call me directly? You know, so
No, but we'll talk to them after the show. Um,
but Snyder's been pretty like he doesn't even like Indiana Jones. Like he, you know, like, to be honest,
it doesn't
he
sound
said
like
he
he's
was
into
fucking-
the Lucasfilm stuff. Like it's not really
No,
his
he likes Star
bag.
Wars, but yeah, not a lot,
Um,
but you know.
Right. All right. So what else we got here from Bestman Fullerton or Bulletin? Are you Bestman Fullerton around? Come on, go do it. All right, there we go. Thank you. This thing is stupid sometimes. News on The Mandalorian Season 3 and more will be released during December 1st during Lucasfilm CCXP panel. Hello there. Give me some coffee. I'm on Hive and Mastodon. I made a Hive account,
That's the
by
Brazilian. Is that the Brazilian Comic Con?
the way. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's something like yeah, I was like, I was talking to Bestman about it. And I was like, what is this thing? I never heard of this thing. It's like a big deal. I'm like, is it like why is it a big thing? Is it a bunch of like Hollywood execs who want to like go out and fucking party in Brazil and have some fucking coffee and G-strings? You know, like what's going on? But I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it's a big deal, but it's apparently it is, and they confirm it.
Tax haven.
And I made a Hive account. You can follow me on Hive. I don't know if it's going to be a thing. I also made a Mastodon account. Mastodon fucking sucks. I'll say that much. Mastodon
3
sucks.
seconds. 3
And Hive
seconds on Mastodon. I was like, this is never gonna work. So
Yeah, it's fuck that shit. And Hive has a better chance at working. I don't know if it will. I'm not betting on anything. I have no idea. But Hive is a lot better. Hive is a little bit like if Instagram and Twitter had a baby. You know, like if you were
Yeah, I'm
tweeting
on
out
there.
your Instagram post, I mean, it's all right. You know, I'm maybe not a couple like a day, but I've had a better time than I did on Mastodon. I'll tell you that much. All right. So in this is Bespin Bulletin. In a tweet from the official CCXP Twitter account, the convention has announced that Lucasfilm will have a panel at the upcoming convention on December 1st and promises that the studio will be bringing news for The Mandalorian Season 3, Indiana Jones 5, and more. The tweet reads, the Disney NACCXP. God, I hate these fucking titles, by the way. They
Sounds like
suck.
Russian, right? The
I feel like-
CC. Remember that? Isn't that the CC?
I feel like it's a fucking Disney college basketball team or something, like league or something. Anyways, Disney NACCXP Vista Windows 95 is coming with everything to the CCXP 22. What you don't say? The panels will take place on Thursday, 12/1. Lucasfilm will bring news of the third season of The Mandalorian and the fifth film of Indiana Jones. Want more? Noon. I tell you. CCXPO official .c3po.com. So, yeah, and that kind of lines up with what I was hearing that we would have a poster for what do you call it coming mid-December and then the trailer on Christmas Day. And so I could see them showing the Mando trailer at this event and then releasing it to us on Christmas Day. I think that may be the plan. Maybe they'll just release it that day instead. That'd be great. Because it will just leak out onto the internet, obviously. So just do that. It's unsurprising that Lucasfilm intends to use their time to promote their next two major projects, The Mandalorian Season 3 and Indiana Jones 5. In regards to the latter, Dr. James Mangold, Logan, Ford versus Ferrari, has previously shared that the first trailer for Jones will arrive in less than a month, with fans expecting the trailer to debut before Avatar: The Way of Water hits theaters on December 16th. Lucasfilm previously showcased a trailer for Jones at D23 in September, with footage eventually making its way online. I saw it, you guys. I saw it there, Andy, right on the internet. The wonder is, will Lucasfilm debut the aforementioned trailer Jones's untitled fifth outing for those exclusively in room, or will they release it to the public at the same time? I also think it would be a mistake to release the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer and Indiana Jones at the same time. Like, you don't want to do that. You want to let these things.
Oh, they're definitely doing that, Jason.
You think on December 1st they're gonna release both trailers online at the same time?
You know, they always do some weird shit.
They
you know?
shouldn't.
Like
if they do that,
let me,
yeah.
not just them, but Disney as a whole. Like, here's the one I'm trying to figure out. Right?
Right.
They put out an Avatar trailer, and then 2 weeks later put out another final 2 weeks, like a
Yeah.
month plus out for over a month out from release. It's like, what are you doing there? Like, that is just a weird. I don't know, man, dude. Disney's got some weird ass marketing that eludes me. You know, like
Behind the scenes,
Okay.
sir. That's what. That's
All right.
The Mandalorian season 3 had its teaser trailer during the D23 Expo in September and was met with much excitement from fans. The Lucasfilm have remained tight-lipped regarding the season since, including removing its February release from its social media bios. A past report from Making Star Wars said that according to their sources, the official trailer for Mando's third season would debut on December 25th, with a poster being unveiled around 10 days before that. The Mandalorian is set to release in February. I'm sure some fans are hoping the trailer gets debuted earlier at CCXP, but if it does, then I'd expect it to be shown exclusively to those in attendance, as Lucasfilm have no problem showcasing trailers for their television series exclusively to those in the room, as they did so in April when they first debuted the trailer for The Mandalorian Season 3 at Star Wars Celebration. It's quite possible Lucasfilm won't show any footage at the convention and instead share some exclusive news. For example, though it's been widely reported that Christopher Lloyd, Back to the Future, will star in Mando Season 3. It's yet to be officially confirmed by Lucasfilm or the actor, and I could see Lucasfilm formally making the announcement at the convention. So then it goes on to say that basically, like, my first thought is that Willow, as the series premiere, is just hitting basically. So some more Willow stuff. I don't want to get into the Willow stuff right now. So I don't want to get in trouble.
Doc Beskar. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I sold the Mandalorian some used pinball machine parts, and he thought it was the throne to Mandalore.
Yeah, I'm with him now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think based off of what we heard, what I heard, whatever, how you want to look at it, what I heard, how it was going, we're going to have, I think on December 1st, they're going to show that stuff there to those people. Then I think after that will be followed. Maybe the Indiana Jones trailer will come that day publicly. And then I think on Christmas Day, we get the Mando 3 trailer. I think that's probably the plan. And I do think it would be a mistake to release both together because, you know, you're like, there's a shared audience, but something's going to win. You're dividing the house against itself, right? If you do that. So hopefully they're not dumb because, like, it would just be a big mistake. Oh, hey, Filoni, how are you, dude? What are you doing?
I want to give you exclusive news. I wanted to give you this. John told me something I just thought you'd love to know. Indiana Jones is a godfather. That's the name of the movie because John loves The Godfather.
He does.
Yeah, and he's gonna be a godfather in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Godfather's Pizza. And Michael Jackson once asked to use his bathroom. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta get some Godfather's pizza. I'm gonna eat.
So dumb. And then we already talked about the video game story. And then Bestman says Andor season 2 will start a year after the events of the season 1 finale. And that article, I don't know if it's might kind of be what we've already been hitting on. Yeah, this is kind of what we already just went over in the previous articles today. So Gilroy didn't share any other details regarding season 2, but did mention that one of the responsibilities of season 2 is bringing Cassian's beloved companion from Rogue One, a Star Wars story, into the fold, K2SO. K2 was originally set to appear in season 1 of Andor when Stephen Schiff, The Americans, was set to showrun the series before Tony Gilroy stepped in and rewrote the first season, which pushed K2's inclusion down the line. So check out that article on bestmanbulletin.com, your number one place for Andor news.
Who doesn't like a good choking? I mean, he choked Andor.
Hey, he's all, I gotta get myself one of those choke droids. Is that what they call them?
Yeah.
So
K2 Kung Fu.
Marty says, I seen the Willow trailer and I think we all know how that story will go. It's kind of. Maybe I can't say anything, but
A lot of people like it,
will,
Jason.
I will.
A lot of people like it.
A lot of people are saying it's good. A lot of people are saying. I'm going to rewatch all 7 episodes in the next like 2 days or so, and after Thanksgiving, when I don't have my children, I'm gonna watch one. I'm gonna sit here and record a video. Then I'm gonna upload that video scheduled to, I'm gonna schedule the video out for when the release of that comes, and I'm gonna do all 7 weeks of or whatever it is of that show.
Such
And
a hypocrite, Jason. You can leak everyone else's stuff, but you can't leak your own, huh?
well, I said if they let me see something early and I sign an NDA, I won't fuck them over. If I make a deal, I'll honor
such a show. Such a show.
it. But and then here is without getting into a review territory or anything like that, there were some things in the show that I had a really hard time like getting acclimated to, and things that I did not feel were in the vibe of the film. And once I got past some of that stuff, or I should say, I just knew it was there and I watched it again, I was able to enjoy it for what it was, not mad at it for what it should have been or could have been. So
yeah, Josh.
Judging it more on what it is.
Sorry.
I'll call leave poor Josh alone.
He's not here to defend himself. My bad.
No. So it's like, God, there's some really good moments in that show, and but also like I've already said.
Careful! Don't say it.
No. I've already said it. The music's the stuff of modern music mixed in with Willow is something that I have a really hard time with, and it for me it was overshadowing important huge moments in it. So. But I got a little bit more used to it, and I'm gonna go through. Like I said, I'm gonna go through, and I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna be critical. I'm gonna be fair. But fucking Willow was the little fucker I was rooting for more than anybody in this whole fucking Lucasfilm thing. More than Indiana Jones, I was rooting for Willow. So so
I'm so glad I picked Andor as the one I was rooting for. I won this year.
No, you were
so
all
glad I won.
I
won.
I said, what do I spoil? What do I get?
Win the show.
What do I get all the
I
info
win the
for?
show.
Do I get Kenobi or do I get Andor? You said, fuck Andor. That guy sucks. Bix is ugly. Get Kenobi. That's what you
Jason,
said.
the minute I said fuck Andor, you tuned me out. I said fuck Andor and I can't even make the joke.
Oh, fuck Andor and eat his ass is actually what you said. You're right. You were completely into it. I take it.
Yeah. Whew. Climb right up that ass. Climb right up that ass.
Get right all up in there. But,
climb.
Yeah. So
Max.
Yeah, I am and I know Bespin has seen some of Willow. And we are coming at Willow from vastly different like generational perspectives. Like Bespin wasn't an 8-year-old like anticipating Lucasfilm's next feature like I was. Like Willow was a big deal to me. Willow was one of the first films. Willow and Last Crusade were 2 of the first films I actively like anticipated and like read magazines for and cut clippings out and shit. You know what I mean? Like it was a big deal. And when it came for me as an 8-year-old, it delivered perfectly. Loved it. And so anyways, the new show, I'm gonna dig back into it, but I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I said, I'm gonna sit right here, I'm gonna fucking watch the episode, and then I'm gonna talk about it to the camera right after. And so it'll be I'll be candid about it. I'll be honest, and I appreciate the access to the screener, but I won't lie. I won't lie for access either. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done anything. I would.
You're gonna make it on YouTube if you don't. Huh?
Oh yeah,
you're gonna make it around here, Jason.
Well, it was a bait and switch. To be honest with you, there were way too many Daikinis in this episode. Bespin Bolt says Bespin wasn't even a thought in his father's nutsack when Willow came out. Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
that's true.
Whereas I preferred Howard the Duck to Willow.
Well, you got beat by Marty, who preferred Kroll to Willow, which is way more on point. But
what did you just say?
Yeah, Kroll. Kroll.
Oh, Kroll.
Kroll?
Yeah, I preferred Beastmaster to Kroll.
Okay, yeah. Ooh, that's a hard one. I had a ferret as a kid, so I always felt like a kinship with Beastmaster for that reason.
I always felt.
Hey
it was
Matt,
a
how's it
He-Man
going,
movie.
dude? Hey Matt, have you
How it
seen
works.
Willow? Have you watched Willow yet? Curious if Matt,
should-
Mr. Jarbo, has seen Willow.
You should just do Jason on the street and then just ask people if they know what Willow is. Have you seen Willow? And just see if they go, Willow Smith?
Right. Willow Smith? You're talking about that girl
Yeah.
that put that flute up her pussy? No. She's
What?
in the other show. That's her, but from the other
Jesus,
show.
Jason. I did not expect that joke was going to go that way. I was just thinking people don't know what Willow is, but holy shit. You're talking about Willow from Buffy. Jason, you got to be very careful. That could come across. That joke took a little bit of a leap. American Pie. I had to do the math on that one.
It's there, though. It's there. And I knew a guy who got to date her when we were in bands back in the day. So, fuck that guy. Lucky ass bitch. The guy.
No one needed to know that.
No, it was important. It was important. I'm pretty mad about it. I was like, why you? That's when he was like a kid. He preferred Red Sonja to Willow. Yeah, I liked Red Sonja back then too. Have you watched Red Sonja lately? Is that shit even like?
Oh no, it's not good.
It's that it's not really watchable, is it?
No,
is it? It's like a step above Garbage Pail Kids because it's got titties in it, pretty much.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger's in there as not Conan. That's fun.
Is he not Conan the Barbarian on it?
No.
Oh, I always thought he was Conan in it when I was a kid, or Conan.
No.
Matt says, I have not seen the new show. I don't get access to anything, but I'm excited to watch it next week. I'm going to finish and okay, yeah. So when you do, like, a lot of people are watching like the first two and they're like, verdict's out. Well, I'm like, gotta watch the first four.
I love I go just watch the first episode. I would be like, best Star Wars ever. So
Marty, I love you, man. Marty saw Beastmaster had Donovan from V. Yes, it did. Yes, it did have Donovan from V in it. Man,
yeah.
he was just a fucking newsman. You know what I mean? Just a news guy. He didn't want to get involved in this shit. And look what happened.
V also had Freddy Krueger.
Man, I'm surprised. I'm surprised they haven't been able to repackage V for the QAnon crowd yet.
They did. They remade V.
No, but they didn't do it for the QAnon crowd, and nobody watched it.
The thing is that those fuckers don't actually spend money on like real shit. They spend things on fake shit. So, dick pills and B-52, Blink 132 tickets.
Baymax says my ripped grand on steroids. Conan the Destroyer. I think a Conan is when your grandma becomes a lesbian, falls in love with another woman, and then you have two Nans, but one's not your real Nan, so she's just your Conan. I think that's how it goes. But anyways, so Rob, you looking forward to cooking the old Thanksgiving tomorrow? You
I'm cooking it next week, maybe not tomorrow.
you celebrate after?
No, I got acid reflux this year apparently, so I was putting too much lemon juice in my water, and now I gotta take it easy on the food for a couple of weeks so I heal up.
Oh, so are you guys really pushing Thanksgiving? You guys are gonna?
Yeah. I'm not gonna fucking eat like Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, first off, let's just be honest. Like, it's a bullshit fucking holiday to begin with. So it doesn't really matter when I make that fucking meal. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we donate to the Native American, like helping to feed the ones that can't fucking eat because our government starves their whole fucking communities to death, fund.
Yeah.
And then I'll make the food a week or two from now. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, enjoy your day tomorrow. Enjoy your day tomorrow, Rob.
I'll be working.
All right. Guess we should have just done a show tomorrow then. I'm kidding. There won't be any news tomorrow. Chris says my cousin married.
Tomorrow's when they launch the indie trailer.
All right. Oh, that would be cool. They did do Force Awakens Thanksgiving evening. Remember that?
Yeah.
So
I remember my wife and I we went back to this cabin that we had spent our honeymoon at, and it was one of those vacations that got ruined because the fucking roof like it was snowing and the roof leaked and flooded in all the snow in the place. So they gave us this other cabin, which was not only incredibly inferior, it was claustrophobic. It was weird. They put us like in a coffin essentially,
Okay.
and we were both crying about it. So we watched the trailer and then just packed up early.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I remember The Force Awakens. That's how I ended the
Chewie-
trilogy. When you think about it,
We
you
were
know?
home.
I just had a good cry, went home, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Started off well.
Chris says his cousin married Conan the wrestler. Laugh out loud. I don't think that's
Man,
funny, man.
the Welsh really love their Conan jokes. You know what I mean?
No, oh
Like,
no,
in
no,
this
no. He's
case-
not Welsh. He's Australian. He's Australian. BMX says, I'll be all alone tomorrow, but at least I know who Rick McCallum is. Hey, you're qualified to have a YouTube show. No, you know too much. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't know. Just I was told the WA stands for the Welsh Australian. But I guess I was wrong. What?
Yeah. All I know is that Chris's cousin is really cute. Bestman Bolton says, I'm thankful that Rob exists. I'm thankful for Adria Arjona, and I'm thankful that Chris stopped asking about Jedi robes. Oh no, Jedi robes, yes. White Jedi robes, no. He's still asking about that. Still asking about the white Jedi robes. Still wants to know about those fucking white Jedi robes. Won't stop asking. God, Chris. But honestly, if you never mind. Rule says double MSW streams on Wednesday. Can I have this as audio to have MSW for today? Yeah. I'm gonna put them all up as audio. I've already uploaded one. I just haven't published it. And yeah, I will put them up. I will put up 3 episodes over the break. So you'll have too much to contend with. Last night's preview episode or impressions episode ended up coming out really good. Our buddy, the Star Wars podcast, took like really good notes. So I'll be like, I'm going to upload that one. Usually the impressions ones are just like me being dumb. So I don't put those ones up, but I think this this time we'll put up both. And then we ended up just kind of like having like a casual hangout today post come down of the show. I think me and Rob will probably review the show on Friday or something like that. If you want to do a show on Friday, are you going to Walmart to fight people on Black Friday, Rob, or are we doing a show?
No, that's called Get COVID Day. No, man, Jason.
Kidding.
I literally sit in this room.
I know you're not going to Black Friday. I really am aware you are not going to Black Friday.
Yeah. I just sit in this room drawing. It's a sad life, folks. Like, Jason's like, I don't know, are you busy? No, I'm just sitting here, like fighting off acid reflux, drawing. That's getting old, Jason. Getting old.
Hey. Yeah, so on Friday, we'll do a proper review of it because we had a discussion with our friends. It was a good time. Baymax says, I'm thankful Dave Filoni and George are both so giving of their time to come to talk to us every day. Right? Can you imagine?
Big shout out. Yeah, big shout out to them.
I never thought when I started this show that George Lucas would show up and Dave Filoni. I mean,
I just love that I've started the Dave Filoni impressions community. I had to give the guy who invented that, right? Like,
I never heard
no one was doing Filoni, right? Nobody. I mean,
people say
guaranteed
you're like
there's a few
the Weird Al of Dave Filoni stuff.
There's a few ex-girlfriends I'm certain that have that down by like way before me. Yeah.
Steven says,
No,
now that
just a
season
tip.
2 has started filming, how long will it take to get more news from it? We've got some writers and directors already. Yeah, in terms of like you're talking about like leaks and stuff, Mr. Murphy, that's in God's hands. Who knows? But let's put it all on Bestman Bulletin since he rocked. I think he was the most prolific scooper of Andor. So let's put it all on Bestman and ask him all the time and ask him where those fucking white Jedi robes are. God damn it. Are they in the show or aren't they?
And why did he lie and set up Meg with a false, Vizier rumor? Why did he do that to her?
Remember when I told Meg to rap and she was like, please leave me alone.
You did. Look, I'm very keen on hearing pleas for help. Like I speak to my dogs really well. Like I could tell what they want. And that was That was the most, blink twice if you're, please, dear God, don't. Like, she does not want to be.
I was driving later on. I'm like, Megan, you should be like, shut. Megan should like tell you to fuck off in her own way. And this one, she was just like, no.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it was like I was putting the fucking helmet on her, the fucking helmet of truth from Andor. Bestman Bolton's Rob's Legacy, starting the Avatar fan club and Filoni impressions. Rob's Legacy starting an Avatar fan club in the middle of a Star Wars show, which is a pretty good feat. Stephen Murphy says, even if we don't get leaks we aren't supposed to hear, I'm expecting to at least actors or something announced by the trades. That's what I said Filoni. What Gilroy was saying in this new episode or in these new articles is that there's not that big of a budget, it sounds like. I don't know if it's the same budget as the first time or if it's small. It doesn't sound like it's huge though. So I'm not expecting the cast to necessarily balloon. But there will clearly be some new people, but I don't know if there's going to be a lot.
I think that lack of budget has nothing to do with, well, see, they're not giving them the money because clearly, blah, 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 blah. No, we just live in a world now where you want to hear, when you hear a company overspend on something that you like, you love it. When you hear them overspend on something you don't care for, you go, oh, big mistake. I think their modest budget is a way of them being left alone in creative decisions. You know what I mean? Like, you can do one, too. You can get more budget, but you're going to have to do this, and that. Like, Logan was one of those responses. Like, the Wolverine movie had a big budget, but in order to get an R-rated Logan movie, you had to do it for 70 mil. You know what I mean? Versus 150 mil. And it was like, all right, so you write a story that, is more personal, has less characters, makes use of your settings. Because Andor reeks. Andor fits that description all around, using your settings really well, really focusing on the people, not the big cameos and sequences and shit like that. So,
well, okay. When I see something weird, Bestman, it usually works. Okay, and I don't know why, but it shouldn't, but it does. If you say Filoni's name enough, he'll eventually appear. But here's the weird part. Watch this. Candyman. No, he didn't appear. Sometimes I just say Candyman 3 times in the mirror and Filoni appears. So it's weird. I don't know why.
Look, the last person who tried that on was Chris Hansen from NBC, and you know what I mean? Like, God. He learned his lesson, Jason.
Every now and then I have to go back to that one Chris Hansen episode where the guy gets the pizza and like tries to be cool, and like he just like keeps saying, "You want some pizza?" It's like eating the pizza. It's like,
yeah,
it's so fucking cringy, but it's so fucking hilarious. Like, anyways, Jedi Chris says, Rob, you risking COVID for Avatar, but not Brown Friday, so un-American. He's of course joking, but yeah, Celebration will give us some Andor news. I think Celebration.
My wife is not risking COVID for Avatar. She hasn't been to theaters. She just can't wear the mask. Is what it is for long periods of time. Mm-hmm. I'm happy in the mask. I would like to have a soda. I won't lie. I like to have a soda. When I watch a movie. Sure. But no soda. Oh my God. Whatever am I gonna do? As a kid, I would have loved to have seen a movie like Avatar in 3D. I could get soda whenever the fuck I wanted in the 80s. So it's like, I'll take this experience over the fucking soda. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Okay. Sorry. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to call it a day now because the kids want me to go do something. So I've been on the show for a while now. So all right, Rob, I'll see you on Friday then.
Yeah, I'll be here.
All right. I'll see you. Thank you everyone for the support, liking the show. Make sure you subscribe to the show on iTunes or Spotify if you want audio versions and all that kind of jazz. And you can do that if you want, or you can just watch us here. I don't care. It's your fucking time, not mine. How do I end the show? Oh, here it is. Yeah. Hey, Rob.
What?
Fuck you.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.